Hello everyone, my name is Aparna Srivastava and today I will be presenting my project titled Medical Insurance Cost Analysis using Excel. The objective of this project is to analyze medical insurance data and identify the key factors that influence medical charges. Through this project, I performed statistical analysis, data visualization, correlation analysis, and dashboard creation using Microsoft Excel. The final outcome of this project is an interactive dashboard that helps stakeholders understand medical cost pattern and identify high-risk customer segments. Now, the project overview. In this project, I worked on a medical insurance dataset containing information about insurance beneficiaries. The dataset consists of 1,338 records and it includes the following fields like age, gender, BMI, numbers of children, smoking status, reasons, and medical charges. The main objective was to understand how these factors affect medical insurance costs and drive meaningful business insights. Now, the business problem statement. Insurance companies need to accurately estimate medical costs and identify factors that increases healthcare expenses. The major business questions are: does smoking increases medical costs? Does BMI affect charges? Which reasons has higher healthcare expenses? Do dependent influence insurance charges? By answering these questions, insurance companies can improve high-risk assessment and pricing strategy. Tools and techniques used. For this project, I use Microsoft Excel as a primary analytical tool. The key Excel features used includes pivot table for aggregations, pivot charts for visualizations, slicer for interactive filtering, histogram for distribution analysis, scatter plot for correlation analysis, and dashboard for stakeholder reporting. I also use Excel functions such as average, median, standard deviation, correlation, if formula, count function. These tools help transform raw data into meaningful business insight. Project methodology. The project followed a structured analytical process. First, the dataset was imported into Excel. Second, data validation was performed to ensure data quality. Third, exploratory data analysis was conducted using statistical measures. Fourth, various visualizations were created to identify patterns and trends. Finally, all insights were integrated into an interactive dashboard for stakeholders. These are basic statistical analysis. The first analysis focused on understanding the overall characteristic of the dataset. The average age of beneficiaries is approximately 39 years. The average BMI is around 30.66, which falls into the obese category. The average medical charge is approximately $13,279. The standard deviation of medical charges is relatively high, indicating significant variation in healthcare costs among beneficiaries. This suggests that while some individuals have moderate costs, others incur very high medical expenses. Gender-wise analysis. Next, I compare medical charges and BMI across gender. The analysis shows that both males and females beneficiaries have similar BMI values. The difference in average medical charges between genders is relatively small. This indicates that gender alone is not a major factor affecting healthcare expenses. Other variables such as smoking status and BMI appears to have a strong influences. Then the smoking impact analysis. This is one of the most important analysis in this project. I compared average medical charges between smoker and non-smoker. This result clearly shows that smoker incurs slightly higher medical charges. Smoking is the strongest factor affecting medical charges in this dataset. As we see, the person which is no smoking records have average charge of 8,440 and the smoker have charges 32,050. This insight is valuable for insurance company because smokers represent a high risk customer segment. Insurance providers can use this information to improve premium calculation and risk management strategy. Then the dependent analysis. In this analysis, I examined whether the number of children affects medical costs. A scatter plot was used to visualize the relationship between children and charges. The points appear widely scattered, indicating a weak relationship. The correlation value is also low. This suggests that the number of dependents has minimal impact on healthcare expenses. Therefore, family size is not a major cost-driving factor compared to smoking and BMI. Then the reason-wise analysis. This analysis compares medical charges and BMI across different regions. The 4 regions include Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest. The Southeast region shows relatively higher average medical charges. However, BMI difference across regions are relatively small. Regional variation exists, but they are not influenced as smoking state. This indicates that geographical location contributes to cost differences, but lifestyle factors remain more important. Now the cost distribution analysis. To understand the cost distribution of medical charges, I create a histogram. The histogram reveals a right squared distribution. Most beneficiary falls into the low to medium charges ranges. However, a small number of individuals have extremely high medical expenses. These high-cost cases create a long tail on the right side of the distribution. This indicates the presence of outlier and high-risk customers within the dataset. Then the BMI classification analysis. For BMI classification, beneficiaries were classified into 4 categories: normal, obese, overweight, and underweight. The pie chart shows that the majority of individuals belongs to overweight and obese categories. Only a small percentage are underweight. This finding highlights a significant health concern within the population. Higher BMI levels are often associated with increased medical risk and higher healthcare costs. Now, the BMI versus charges correlation. To study the relationship between BMI and medical charges, I create a scattered plot. The chart indicates a positive relationship between BMI and healthcare expenses. As BMI increases, medical charge generally tends to increase. However, the relationship is moderate rather than extremely strong. This suggests the BMI influences healthcare costs but does not have much impact on smoking. Smoking and regional interaction. This analysis combines smoking status and region. The objective was to identify which region has the highest cost among smokers. The result shows the smoker consistency incur higher costs across all regions. Among them, the Southeast region record the highest medical expenses. This indicates that smoking combines with regional factor creates a high risk customer segment. Then the final dashboard. Now I will explain the dashboard. At the top I have included KPI cards showing average age, average charges, average BMI. On the left side, slicers also allow user to filter data by reasons, BMI classification. On the right side, additional filters are available for smoking status and the sex or gender. The dashboard also contains smoker versus non-smoker, BMI versus charges relation, regional analysis, children's versus charges relation analysis, distribution of BMI categories, and charges distribution histogram. These visualizations provide stakeholders with an interactive way to explore medical cost better. Then the key findings. The major findings from this project are: smoking is the strongest driver of medical charges. Higher BMI contributes to increased healthcare costs. Most individuals are overweight and obese. Dependent have very little impact on charges. Southeast region shows comparatively higher expenses. Then some business recommendations. Based on the analysis, the following recommendation can be made. Encourage preventive healthcare programs. Promote smoking sessions initiatives. Create awareness about healthy BMI levels. Improve risk-based insurance pricing. Focus on high-risk customer segments for better healthcare planning. At the end, conclusion. To conclude, this project successfully analyzed medical insurance data using Excel and identified the major factor affecting healthcare expenses. The analysis reveals that smoking and BMI are the most significant drivers of medical costs. An interactive dashboard was developed to help stakeholders make informed decisions and better understand healthcare expenditure better. Thank you for listening to my presentation.